The story begins with an atmosphere of tension and discomfort in Dr. Linda Markham's advanced calculus class, one of the most prestigious professors at the university. In one of the most renowned universities in the United States, where each semester sees a large number of students vying for a spot in her class, the atmosphere today is different. It's not because she has a special lecture or an exciting curriculum, but because she has decided to change her teaching approach and incorporate her personal political views into the classroom. Dr. Markham stands at the front of the room, her sharp gaze sweeping across the students, all sitting tense. This scene has occurred several times in the past weeks. Each time she steps into the classroom, she brings with her a sense of untouchable authority. However, today is different. The classroom is silent, but a few furtive glances are cast toward the back of the room, where a tall, calm student sits alone, not participating in the ongoing conversations. Barron Trump, the son of one of the most influential figures in America, sits quietly, his eyes fixed on the blackboard. Although no one in the class dares to say it out loud, Barron is often seen as an outsider. People know him through stories about his family and his last name, but few know about his academic abilities. Barron is not one to easily blend in, nor does he seek attention. He chooses to maintain his silence, a silence that, at times, leaves the strongest impression. As Dr. Markham begins her lecture on the necessity to change the curriculum, bringing social issues into the classroom, the atmosphere grows more tense. The students can sense a stark shift from previous lessons. Today is not a typical math class, but rather a political speech. She declares confidently, with a touch of arrogance, calculus is important, but in this world, there are more urgent issues. Politics and social justice are things we cannot ignore. No matter how brilliant you are, you must recognize that not everyone has the same opportunities as you. Her words make several students uncomfortable, but no one dares to speak up. All eyes are on Barron. He shows no sign of reaction, as if her words have not affected him. The atmosphere in the classroom feels like a bomb has gone off when Dr. Markham starts redrawing the curriculum map, declaring that math, particularly calculus, must step aside for larger social and justice issues. While other students attentively listen, some feeling uneasy but too afraid to speak up, Barron Trump, sitting at the back of the room, seems unaffected. Though Barron is the son of a prominent figure, he maintains a humble demeanor, and at times, a cold, inscrutable presence. But today, something about the way Dr. Markham lectures compels him to speak. His love for mathematics urges him to stand up. Just as Dr. Markham pauses to comment on the power of privilege in education, Barron quietly raises his hand. A simple gesture, but it draws all eyes in the room, creating an atmosphere full of anticipation. Dr. Markham glances at Barron, not surprised. It seems she was prepared for a formidable opponent, but perhaps she didn't anticipate that opponent being him, a member of a powerful family, often judged only by his last name. "Yes, Mr. Trump, what do you have to say?" she says with a tone dripping with sarcasm, cutting through the silence. Barron stands, unfazed. "Professor, I believe mathematics is a crucial tool in all fields, from science to technology. If we allow it to take a back seat to political issues, are we not losing sight of the essence of education?" His question is a powerful shock to everyone in the class. Many students turn to each other, whispering and nodding in agreement. Some are eagerly waiting for Dr. Markham's response, while others look uneasy. But the professor doesn't let this challenge slide easily. She responds with a smug smile, "Interesting, Mr. Trump. But not everyone has had the fortune to study in an environment as privileged as yours, right?" Her words are laced with derision, but Barron remains unshaken. He smiles gently, "I don't deny my privilege, Professor. But precisely because of that, I understand the importance of ensuring that everyone has an opportunity to learn and succeed through their abilities, not just because of their personal privileges." Dr. Markham looks at Barron with a mocking expression. She has anticipated this moment, a privileged, outspoken student who could easily be criticized but isn't easily defeated. She turns to the blackboard and begins writing a complex equation, one that no student in the class could likely solve in a short time. It's a multivariable calculus problem requiring advanced techniques not yet covered in their curriculum. She knows Barron will not be able to solve this problem easily. As she writes the equation, she murmurs, "If you really love mathematics that much, prove it. Show us that math should still be prioritized, even when we have to accept the injustices in society." A heavy silence envelopes the room. The students glance at each other, unsure of what to do. Barron doesn't rush. He calmly rises from his seat, walking toward the blackboard, his gaze steady and determined. This time, he's not just a privileged child of a powerful family, but a person genuinely passionate about mathematics. "All right," Barron says calmly, "if you want to challenge me, I'll solve this problem. But instead of just solving it, I'll explain the process to everyone." The students around him look at each other, some pulling out their phones to record what might become a historic moment. The question on everyone's mind is whether Barron can do the impossible. Barron begins to explain each step carefully. Every step of solving the equation is broken down in great detail. Terms like series expansion, multivariable integrals, and Euler's method are mentioned as if they're familiar to everyone in the class. But what's most striking is the way he does it, without rushing, only exuding total confidence and calmness. Some students begin looking at each other in astonishment. Never have they seen a student solve a problem so smartly. Some nod in understanding, and everyone begins to see the elegance with which Barron connects the theories. Before anyone can catch their breath, something unexpected happens. Barron, with his bright eyes and a slight smile, doesn't just solve the problem but invites Dr. Markham to join him in solving it. "If you want, we can do this together," he says. Mathematics is not a battle, it's about collaboration. All eyes are on Barron. The students in the class can hardly believe what they are witnessing. One student, Sarah Chen, stands up and asks, "Could you explain both methods? I think I understand this approach, but if possible, I'd like to see both methods to get a clearer understanding." This moment changes the atmosphere in the room. Barron smiles and looks back at Dr. Markham. He doesn't say anything else, simply inviting her to take part in the next steps. Dr. Markham's gaze begins to shift. Not because she's losing, but because she realizes that the equation is no longer just about math, it's about how she views her students and the educational system. Just then, the door opens abruptly, and Dean Richardson, a supporter of Dr. Markham's policies, enters. However, this time, his intervention cannot conceal the changes that are beginning to unfold in the classroom. Barron turns back, looking straight at Dr. Markham and Dean Richardson, with no hint of fear. "Professor, Dean, you asked me to solve this problem. I cannot leave it unfinished," Barron says with calm authority. After this memorable event, the atmosphere in the advanced calculus class completely changes. Not just the students, but even Dr. Markham can't return to her old way of teaching. Barron has taught her an important lesson, that education must be built on knowledge, not politics or bias. And more importantly, nothing can replace the respect between a professor and students. In the end, Barron proves to be not just a brilliant mathematician but a true leader, someone who knows when to stand up and when to help others. His lesson on humility, the importance of knowledge, and collaboration over confrontation turned that class into a vibrant example of true, unbiased education. The event quickly spread beyond the university, and Barron became a symbol of confidence, leadership, and dedication to education. His story of standing up against illogical views became an inspiration for many students across the country.